What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, this is just an E91 328xi build. If you're a returning subscriber, you already know what it's all about, and welcome back. I know I'm just going to jump right into it. I know I haven't been uploading a lot of videos as I once was, because now it's starting to die out with the parts that I'm getting, because now I'm just saving up for the swap, but mainly the build process is still going to continue on this car. It's just going to be mainly exterior and a little bit buttoning up of the interior. I still need to get on the interior just a couple of things. I'm just going to get the M Performance shift knob and boot, and the rear cargo cover. I'm still trying to find that. That's been a hassle to find, and it's super rare to find supposedly, so I'm still trying to find that. And I am going to get the carbon fiber trim, but I'm not going to tell you the design yet, so hopefully it comes, or hopefully I'm able to get it soon. But right now I'm mainly trying to get the exterior. And onto the exterior, I did purchase an AK style front lip, carbon fiber lip, but unfortunately where I bought it from, it was on eBay, it did not fit, and I was very worried about that. But it did not fit because the seller was a little bit shady about that, but I got that all taken care of. So I was going to make a video of the installation, but as I was making the video, it was a complete fail, because when I just mounted it up, when I had the bumper on, it was just awful fitment. So I had talk with the seller, and I do apologize if the external mic does pick up the wind, but hopefully it does not. But anyways, if the seller was pretty shady about it, but it is what it is. So I'm going to continue to find the front lip, and I'm going to get the rear diffuser, which I will go over that and show you guys what I'm going to be doing with the stock rear diffuser. And hopefully a buddy of mine is going to be able to do an actual rear diffuser for my rear diffuser, if that even makes sense. But I will show you guys what's going on. So it's going to be some style of the fancy wide, but I want to get it custom made for my car and actually have it fit to where it can mount up to the rear jack point, instead of stopping right before the diff. So I want to make a little bend in there where it does attach to the rear jacking point of my car, and I will try to show you guys that today. But again, that's just the updates that I have. I will go over that, and then I will include it in this video of what's going to be happening. But today we're just going to be talking about autocross and track days. I know I've gotten a lot of comments about that. When you're going to go out there, when you're going to go race, when you're just going to have fun. So I will be doing that. It's just been very crazy right now with work, personal life, nothing bad, just it's just been busy, but just been enjoying it. And my build has sort of been at a standstill because I just haven't had the time to give her attention. But again, I will be continuing on to do that. So here she is, parked up so beautifully, and of course you cannot just gawk at the carbon fiber hood. It's that little OEM plus fitment that you get out of it. It looks black, but then in the sunlight, it has that carbon effect, and I absolutely love it. The actual camera is picking it up for once, so it's fantastic. But as going to the front, I'm going to do a Euro headlight conversion as well. So it's going to delete the ambers, and it's going to all be clear. Before that even happens, like I said, I'm going to be actually putting some aero, an active aero that actually works on the car. So in order to get the Hard Motorsports front mounted chassis splitter, I'm going to need to get a front lip. As you can see on the M Sport one, there's a divot right here, and if I just do get the front splitter, air is going to get caught in these pockets right here. So I'm going to have to find a lip that makes it flush, and then when I get the hard mount front splitter, Hard Motorsports front mount splitter, it's going to actually keep it all straight, so there's going to be no break in air on that. So that's just going to be the front. I'm still iffy about side skirt extensions. I don't know. Did read up about how it does help with aero and cuts it a little bit, but I don't know if it's much extensive or if it's just mainly for looks. But if it does seem fit and it does flow with the body lines, I will look into that. More than likely, it's not going to be carbon fiber. The only reason why I'm going to get a carbon fiber front lip is because it's going to get protected by that chassis mounted front splitter. So I'm not worried about the front lip cracking or anything like that. Plus, I do have, of course, carbon fiber rear spoiler and hood. So I just wanted to follow the lines, and of course I don't want to be nothing outrageous. I still want to keep the OEM plus spec, so just a little bit carbon fiber sprinkled all over the car. And I don't know, still iffy about getting it in carbon fiber or not, or even getting them at all, because as you can see here, these OEM M Sport side skirts is a hell of a difference compared to just the normal non-M Sport ones, and I absolutely love it. So let's just go to the back real quick. And as you can see here, the M Sport rear bumper does have a rear diffuser. So that's the rear diffuser that I'm getting, and I did find one where there are it is a diffuser. I will put the link in the description below, and it has been iffy on this car where it says it doesn't fit right, but it will fit. You just need to make extensive modifications to the actual bumper itself and the actual carbon fiber, and you need to trim a lot of it. But again, I will be doing a video about that, and I'm just debating whether or not I want to do it to the get the front lip first or the rear diffuser first. But I think I'm going to go with the front because the front just looks blah, and the rear bumper actually still looks aggressive stock. But onto the actual race rear diffuser, or as you can see, I'm going to be using a fancy wide rear template, but make it to my liking. Let me try to get underneath here. So if you can see there, that is the rear jacking point for these cars. And I want to get a rear diffuser that covers all of this, makes it all nice and flush, but then you can bolt it in because there is a hole where you can still bolt it in. I could still utilize it. I know it's going to be iffy whenever I need to drop my exhaust, but I hardly ever need to drop it. But if I do, I'll just go through the process of, you know, getting it done and just taking off the rear diffuser first. And that's it. And that's that for really what I want to do on the aero wise on the back. As the front, as you can see here, I did do little subtle. I will update you guys. And of course, I would need my keys. Let me unlock that. So I did do a little bit of an update. Now the bamboo interior is actually done, front and rear. I still need to get the rear speakers. I'll show you guys that when I'm talking about. You see, I still need to get that tweeter right there. And I tried to purchase it off FCP, but they're back ordered. So I'm gonna have to wait on that on the other side. So now it's all legitimately finished with the bamboo side. And I'm really happy about that. Just gotta get these nice carbon fiber trim, and I can't wait to do that. But that's all updates that I have for you on the interior wise. I'm still loving it. Still pretty happy to be the first one to have the whole bamboo interior. And I'm still iffy about changing this one as well. I really would like it in black, or but it's going to be split. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the E90 M3 center one. So it's a split center console, and I'm still debating on whether to get it in black or to keep it this. And again, comment down below what you guys want to see, if I should change that or not. And again, comment down below of what you want me to do next. In the sense of exterior first. I'm gonna save the headlights for last because, as you guys know, I don't really want to mess with the headlights until I have the full aero setup and it's actually functional and I can have a fun day at the track or autocross. And you know, I'm not going to be doing high amounts of speeds, but it does do substantial amount because I did have a front splitter on my M3, and when I did track my M3, I did notice a difference on that. But let's get down to track day prep and autocross day prep. So now on to track events and autocross events. Basically, these are going to fall hand in hand. Of course, obviously you're on a track, another one you're on a closed course in a parking lot. It's just going to be a basic overview, and it's just going to be my list on how I went about doing my build. So what I did first was maintenance. Second thing I did was seat time, which is very important. Seat time is always over in my book of modifications of your car, because you could mod it in the wrong direction depending on which track you're on most of the time and which autocross events you guys are going out to, and you can just set it up and waste money in the long run. And the next thing would be modifications, but modifications do go hand in hand with maintenance as well, because as I did maintenance on my car, I did upgrade with mods. For example, when I first bought my car, I bought it from an older gentleman. He was, you know, he just drove the car. That's all that he did, oil changes, and that's it. And of course, when I was doing the full fluid change, I flushed all the fluids, and as I flushed out all the fluids, I already had parts to, put in, such as the radiator. Supposedly he did do the water pump, and I did verify the water pump did look new, so luckily I didn't have to do that job. And coolant reservoir hoses, because they do brittle over time, and of course with these, since they have clips at the end, you're not able to upgrade to silicone like in the E36s, which that's what I had in my M3. So I did all that. I upgraded all the coolant lines. The bleeder screw I converted over to brass instead of plastic. You know, it's just the little things that can be catastrophic failure, quote unquote. Like you could just blow the bleeder screw and you're out for the day, but your whole, you know, your coolant's fine, but you know, the bleeder screw is starting to leak and you're leaking coolant. So that's one thing that I did. And when it came to the air intake side, I you know, did the silicone elbow. So I deleted that little plastic ring. It has like a little diffuser in the bottom, which makes it, you know, holds in air and it doesn't make it as smooth as the silicone elbow would do. So I did the silicone elbow, the Canon drop-in filter, and the charcoal filter Elite, and then just added the air scoop so when the air can be concentrated and get sucked into the air intake. And it's still a cold air intake. Didn't want to upgrade to an actual legitimate cold air intake, as I'm gonna be doing an M57 build on this, so it would be pointless for me. But of course, you guys could do whatever you want to do if you're gonna keep the motor in it or do any types of motor swap. Just make sure that you know and you're gonna stick to your guns, because you don't know how many times I just wanted to put on, you know, the Active AutoWorks headers, do the stage 3 manifold swap, and you know, do the full bolt-ons and cold air intake, you know. But as you know, another example with that air intake, and then another one was the suspension. So I could tell the first, when I was driving it, I knew that the suspension would need to be changed in due time, and that was one of the first major things that I did, because as I was driving it, I was doing the basic maintenance with the motor and the fluids, and then I was like, you know what, let me put in some coilovers. And of course, coilovers, you know, or a spring and strut setup, that's all personal preference to me. I didn't want to go with the spring and strut setup because it will cost close to, if not as much, or a little bit more expensive than coilovers. But again, it's all your preference. If you do like the way how a stock suspension feels, but a little bit more sportiness, then of course go with that setup. But if you do like a little bit more aggressive setup, but to me, I don't really feel like this is pretty aggressive, because as I go over harsh bumps, that's only when I do notice the car. But I'm not really going over harsh bumps as much, and when I do see it, I still avoid it, because my car, as you can see, it is pretty low, but is not that low. I have it it's very track friendly and very autocross friendly. So when I do hit a nasty bump, I know that I'm not going to be scraping or rubbing on anything. And just for precautionary measures on my end, I did roll my fenders, but I wasn't rubbing to begin with, so I was pretty happy about that. But that's where the modifications and the maintenance goes. But the next thing would just be seat time. Get yourself out there, you know, go to join Facebook groups that are local to you, or go out to any type of autocross event. The community is great, at least in my opinion. I've had no issues with people, you know, saying, oh, you're stupid, or why are you asking this question, that's a dumb question. There's people of many levels in there, and they will help you out. And in my instance, and in my case, they have helped me out tremendously of where my car needs to be, what class it's going to be in, so on and so forth. You just got to get yourself out there. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, because that's where a lot of people stop at. And you're never going to learn if you're going to always be afraid of that. And that's you know what my case was. I was scared, but I was like, you know what am I scared about? I'm just trying to learn here. I don't care about the people who try to want to be, you know, oh, well, you don't know this. I don't care about, you know, what your knowledge is. I'm just trying to learn here. And for my modification list, what I went for was suspension and handling, because wagons, as they are, do drive like sedans. The body roll was not to my liking, so I just basically did the M3 strut bar conversion and paired it with the Ultra Racing strut bar tower as well from an M3. And I paired that with a rear Ultra Racing strut bar as well. So that really cleaned up. As I went over bumps, I would notice in the rear, it would be a little bit loose, like the left would follow the right and vice versa. The right would follow the left if you'd go over a bump. And when I installed the strut brace, completely deleted that feel in the rear. And I could go through a corner at 80 miles an hour and not feel like it's going to get loose on me or anything like that. So suspension and handling, of course, and brakes. I upgraded to a big brake kit. Of course, you guys don't need to do that. I just did it because I knew what application I was going to be using for, and on top of that, I wanted to really have a beautiful kit on my car, and it has sufficed tremendously for my liking. It's definitely worth the price of doing that, and of course, I do have a video about what I did if you do want to know the setup that I have, so you can go take a look at that video as well, and I'll put it in the description below if you are interested. But these cars are more than good with the stock brake setup. If you just get a nice pad, do the brake fluid flush, and some nice rotors. Pads and rotors, they go a long way with these cars. In my opinion, I would stay away from drilled rotors because they do tend to crack under high heat, and if you are tracking it a lot and it is your daily, you don't want to have cracked rotors, and it could be costly, and again, it could be something where you do get in an accident, and that's something I would want to ixnay if I could stop it right away. So I didn't go that route. I just went dippled and slotted in the rear, and then I did in the front blanks because I love blanks. With that issue, oops, it is windy. Sorry, my camera's falling over. I will get back with you. Hold up. Okay, sorry for the Texas, of course, interruption of the wind. But anyways, that's something that I wouldn't want to use if I knew that could be always just something in the back of my mind, like, oh, you're constantly checking your rotors. So I would stay away from those, but again, that's personal preference. That's what I've seen on a lot of my friends, cars and stuff like that. And especially going to a shop, I see a lot of that. And, because I help my friends from time to time at the shop, and of course I'm there, see other cars, and they do have cracked rotors, and they're drilled. So that's just my opinion. Of course, you don't need to follow it, just giving you my side. And that's it, and that's that. I went with that. Suspension and handling wise, brakes, and wheels and tires. Wheels and tires are also another thing that will help you lose time on the track or at an autocross event, because it's just how well it's going to handle, and not that, it's just how well it's going to grip the road. That's what works hand in hand. You need to pair that with brakes, and your car will be unstoppable. And of course, with getting wider wheels, you're able to put on wider tires, and you're able to expand that track width of the car. And of course, it's going to help you with corner balancing. And then I also paired that with some AKG Motorsports sway bar and links. I do not have upgraded sway bars. I was going to do that, but of course I'm going to be doing the swap, and it doesn't really make sense to get just all-wheel drive ones. I know the rear-wheel drive it doesn't matter if you're rear-wheel drive or auto-wheel drive, it will still fit, but I still have to drop the sub frame for that, and might as well when I'm going to be doing the whole rear end swap out of my car. It's going to come out anyway, so why pay double? So that's why I haven't done it yet. But of course, if you guys are not going to be doing any types of motor swap or drivetrain swap like I am, go all out, enjoy yourself. And of course, make sure to save up for those parts, because you want to buy quality each and every time, because you don't want anything to fail at the track, and that would be or autocross event. You don't want that to happen, and of course you don't want anything to be catastrophic on your car, because then it's just going to be a bad time, and then it's going to stray you away from wanting to enjoy your car. But that is my overview of it. So basically it would just be maintenance, seat time, and then modifications. But again, modify as you do maintenance, because there's always something that you can upgrade in your car and make it better than from the factory, as in every car. No car manufacturer is going to make a solid car right off the bat. You got to make it your own, and you got to make it the most solid it can be. Again, comment down below what you guys want to see on this build next, whether if it's a front lip, side skirts, or the rear diffuser. Interior wise, again, I'm not going to really go for that at the moment. I'm just going to wait until the exterior is a little bit more in its place and it looks a little bit more aggressive, as I do not like the front bumper without a lip. I want to make it just that tad bit aggression. But again, I want to know what my viewers are more interested in. And if you also have any questions about anything such as prep for the track or autocross event, you can DM me on IG. I'll make sure to get to you guys as quick as possible. Or again, you can comment down below and ask whatever question that you want to ask, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability and just using my personal experience with these things. And if you haven't considered, or if you're still watching my videos and haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It will definitely help out the channel grow, and it will definitely get me to where my car needs to be with the 335D swap. So I'm still going to be doing that regardless or not, but I just want to give that guys out to you as quick as possible. And again, with throwing out the content, I do apologize with not giving you guys as much, but I want to throw out quality content such as this, something that's informative and will help benefit you guys in the long run, compared to if I just throw something out and it was just something that you guys already saw. I'm not that type of, you know, content creator, and I want to be the best E91, well, the only E91 content creator out there for you guys to follow the build and replicate it as yours as well. Just let me know. Don't be afraid to ask me. I will get to you as quick as possible. And I'm very happy with the family that I have created on YouTube. So I want to thank you guys, because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this, and I wouldn't even want to pick up the camera to, you know, do anything that I would want to do on this car. And you guys make it worthwhile. So again, much love to everyone out there, and be safe.